I've always been a sucker for a good success story. Someone who started as nothing and turned themselves into something. Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali. These are all names that today are symbols of greatness and perseverance by any means necessary. But think about how easily these individuals could have just been another guy, working a regular job with none of the achievements that we know them for today. How many times has somebody with big dreams and the potential of doing great things never accomplished any of those things because maybe they doubted themselves or they gave in to their own laziness? How many times has the next Christopher Nolan quit making films because it's a hard industry? Now, what's the most common answer you'll hear from a successful person when you look for advice? They'll say, work hard, and work hard. I remember when I was a kid and I would hear someone I admire say those words, I wouldn't get any feelings of inspiration or direction as to how to accomplish anything in life. Because sure, if I wanted to become a bodybuilder, I could work hard and lift weights for 3 hours a day, but without any of the knowledge about what it actually takes to put on muscle mass, I would only be wasting my time and probably doing more harm than good. If anything, those words only discouraged me because the thought of working hard, well, it sounds hard. And when you already spend 40 hours a week doing mentally and physically exhausting work, the thought of working hard on a side project is just outside the realm of mental possibility. And that's why most who try quit before they truly start, or they burn out before they make any progress, because even just the idea of working towards something you've already established as difficult, it feels draining. Especially when you've been trained to believe that work time is for work and free time is for relaxing. As humans, we're wired to take the path of least resistance at every chance. So when you try doing something new for your own well-being, when your regular routine is a much more comfortable one, working hard may seem satisfying in the short term. But after that initial high of motivation wears off and the temptation to watch TV when you told yourself you're going to be working on your art comes in, you're going to need a system that you can rely on, or else you'll continue to fail every single time. So I've been doing a lot of reading on habit building because what I started to notice was that more than anything, more than a person's image, more than their work ethic, more than even the product they create, the most successful people that I admire share one common trait, and that's relentless consistency. Elon Musk has been reading, studying, and working with computers ever since he was a kid, and as a result, he's built more billion-dollar companies than I've had Brussels sprouts in my life. The Rock, he has a 45,000 pound gym that travels with him everywhere he goes, and as a result, he is the most jacked guy on the planet. Kevin Hart, he's been in every movie ever, he sells out arenas, and he keeps continuing to build businesses, and he's still in every movie ever somehow. And I'm not saying that these guys didn't work hard. Of course they had to work hard to get to where they are today. But what I'm saying is that's not how they started. The lives that they have now started with a curiosity or just an interest to do something. And by showing up every single day and just putting in the effort to improve over years and years, that's how they got to the place that they are today. How many times have you seen an overnight success be more than an overnight success? It's super rare. And for the most part, that's probably because they're just not consistent. They got lucky one time, and then you never hear from them again because they didn't build that foundation that a lot of these super successful people have. Find anyone that's at the top of an industry or at the top of a discipline, and I guarantee you that they've been doing the exact same thing over and over and over for years. That's why they're the best. Showing up and being consistent is way more important than grinding and working hard every waking hour. Think about what it takes to split a rock in half. You can hit it 100 times and it'll look like nothing happened to the rock. You can hit it 1,000 times and it's going to look like the exact same thing. You'll hit it 10,000 times and it still might not split in half, but eventually you'll hit that rock and it'll split in half. And for an onlooker who only saw that last hit, it's going to look like it took one, but you know that it took way more than that. Habits are very similar. We see someone we envy, someone with a lot of money, someone with a nice body, and we say, I want that now. And that's the problem. We want everything now. So when we go to the gym for a week and then we look at ourselves in the mirror and nothing has changed, we think about how much willpower it's taken just to get to where we are today and how much more work it would take to get to where we want. So what's the most common path when that happens? Quit. It's too hard. go back to your old ways. So in Atomic Habits, James Clear comes up with this concept of the plateau of latent potential. The plateau of latent potential, it's this time period in between the time that you start a habit and where you actually start seeing results with that habit. This time frame, no matter how long it is, it's where most people quit because they start to get discouraged, they aren't seeing the results, but they're putting in the work. And you've definitely experienced this before. You start something with the most motivation, and as you keep working towards it and you aren't seeing the results that you were expecting, you want to quit. If you can get through this part where you get discouraged and you just keep going, that's when you start to see results. Once you start to let go of any expectations and you just focus on the idea of doing the thing and creating the habit, making sure that you show up every single day, the results will come inevitably. I like to think of it like traveling to Mount Everest and then quitting while you're at the bottom of the hill. Yes, technically you haven't started yet and there's a lot more work ahead of you, but if you quit now, you gotta go home and you gotta tell your friends that you suck. Now, people love to talk about how they lack the motivation to do something, and what I found in my life is that the reason that I will lack the motivation to do something is usually one of two things, and they're on opposite sides of a spectrum. On one side, the task is so easy and it's likely repetitive that it's boring. On the other side, it's really hard and it's difficult that you get discouraged and you want to give up. This in between it being too easy and too hard, where it's just the right amount of difficulty that you can see the end, this is called the Goldilocks zone. And if you can stay in the Goldilocks zone, you are 10 times more likely to be motivated to do something. By staying in this Goldilocks zone, you're being challenged. And when you're being challenged, you're improving, whether you know it or not. Let me give you an example of how I've noticed this in my life, and I'm sure you can find it in yours as well. When I was in elementary school, I started skateboarding, and I would go to the skate park, and I would see these guys do kick flips and board slides and ride down these big ramps, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. The first thing I tried to do was try to learn how to kickflip and how to do all of these tricks that were not a beginner's trick. I was spending 3 hours a day learning how to kickflip when I barely knew how to ride my board. And as a result, of course, I got frustrated because it was so hard, I could not figure it out. And it wasn't until that I took a step back and I stopped trying to do that and I went back to the fundamentals. And it was this natural progression of improvement that I had the most fun. When I was trying to do something that I was not nearly good enough to do, I wasn't having any fun, and if I kept trying to do that, I probably would have quit after a few months. And the best part about being in the Goldilocks zone is that it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like it takes an incredible amount of willpower and discipline to try to do this thing. All I tried to do was improve in any way that I could every single day. And eventually, these goals that I had set out that seemed so far away, they came, and it didn't feel like it took a bunch of effort to get there. So if you can learn to apply this idea of just showing up and getting a little bit better at something every single day, you're bound to improve significantly at anything you do. If you can force yourself to do something on the days that you're unmotivated or you feel uninspired, just think about how much progress you can make on the days that you do. Yo, thank you for watching this video. The channel just hit 200 subscribers, which in the YouTube world, it sounds like nothing. But even if just one person is watching these videos, I'm more than happy to make them. These are topics that I'm, really inspired by and that I love to talk about, and they're just in my head all the time. So I find it strangely relieving to talk to a video camera like this. So yeah, thanks for watching. This has been Alex from Think Rich. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.